I would say of the top priorities, number one, first and foremost, because of the duration, we're a capacity sport. So you got to be able to go 15 minutes or 25 minutes because that's worst case scenario. That's where you're going to be. Best case scenario,
20 minutes,
you're a
man.
finishing specialist and you can take care of them in 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 90 seconds. That's an easy day at work. You get your check, you go home, you be ready to fight the next week.
Right. We can give this another go. I'm still in shape.
You hear that all the time. You hear our guys, they get a quick knockout. They're like, sign me back up. I'm ready to go next week. I don't care who it is. You know, rightfully so. They just got abused an entire camp. They made weight. It took zero damage. Like, why wouldn't you want to go do it again?
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, I always wondered that, like, finish a fight, like, after some nasty 18-week camp and be like, that's it?
If you
give me 30 seconds, man?
If you finish a fight within the first minute as well, there's a high probability you're getting a $50,000 bonus. So when that happens, they're like, wait a minute. I just worked for 45 seconds and I just made like 90 G's. Sign me up. I'm doing it again. Like, you know, you'd be silly not to think like,
Coach,
I'm
just
ready
teach
to do
me
it
to
again.
throw the right.
Yeah, exactly.
It pays better.
So we're a capacity sport first and foremost. So regardless, like we have guys that walk in and are like, fuck, that dude is strong. Holy shit. Like for that weight class. Immediately, what does the repeatability look like? What is the sustainability? We know that the ceiling height is high. Now, how long can we keep the engine running? That's a big one for us. So going back to earlier when I was walking you guys through the weight room, number one is you got to make weight. You can't make money if you don't make weight. Number two is the capacity side. No fighter wants to gas out. One, it's embarrassing. Two, you're never more vulnerable than when you're that fatigued. You know, we saw in the first Stipe Francis Ngannou fight, when you see someone that is that athletically gifted and can't physically get himself up off the ground. I mean, even when the fight was over, he sat on the stool for like 9 minutes. I mean, they couldn't get him up.
It's trouble,
right? I mean, that's lactate overflow like we've probably never experienced before. And only something like fighting for your life can really draw that out of you to that extent. Or if you look maybe at some like elite marathon records, when they cross the line, you don't see those dudes jumping up and down and high-fiving.
No, they're trashed.
They're trashed.
Yeah, they plan to run for just that long.
They catch them, they sit them down, they're shoving shit down their throat, trying to get them rehydrated. Like,
I didn't plan for an extra 100 meters.
Exactly.
I got 26.2 miles, not 26.3, my friend.
Yeah. So, that capacity factor is always going to be a high priority. Then you also have to look at mitigating injury. So that's a tricky one because for us, it's like you can't just say, we're limiting the risk of injury all the time. Well, not really, because in order to score offensively, you have to do damage. So we're actually working on directly affecting injury rates.
Yeah,
meaning causing more of them. You know what I mean? So, but what are we doing from a durability standpoint to where it's not an injury that's going to put them down for 3 weeks, for 4 weeks? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Catastrophic failures are going to happen, and there's no way to. You can't coach or really prepare on the outside for an ACL or a toe that breaks or a leg break.
But what you can provide is a solid volume-based body of work enough to where they have pliability and durability to take the repetitious beatings over and over again with minimal damage. That's the idea. And so, you can look very quickly, someone that's out of shape that hasn't been around pro practice for a while, and then they jump into a pro practice and you watch them, the fatigue rate directly is correlated to how much damage you take. The more tired that you get, the less or more out of shape you are because you haven't been doing anything. You step into a pro practice with someone relatively in good shape, you're not necessarily taking a beating because you're technically weaker.
No,
you're
you can't defend yourself anymore.
Right. The fatigue rate won't allow you to do your job. So we can help with that. We can help with that type of injury mitigation.
Yeah, we can get you in better shape.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you can actually use the tools that you have, use your intellect that you have, use your skill sets that you have.